We no longer have to be who they told us we had to be so we didn't get hit, or so that we didn't get manipulated or gaslighted or whatever, all of the above. And in creating our new personas, we start creating our new life. We start taking steps into the direction that we would like to go, not the direction that everyone else likes us to go. But with that, you're also looking at the people in your life giving you resistance. They're not going to like that you are standing up for yourself. They're not going to like that you're setting boundaries. They're not going to like that you're saying no. They're not going to like that you have gone into hermit mode so you can take care and spoil yourself, your person, your body, your mind. They're not going to like that. They're not going to like that you're putting yourself first because you've never done that before.
Namaste and welcome to Healing Her Spirit, a podcast dedicated to guiding the divine feminine on a journey of profound growth and self-discovery. This is a sanctuary for those seeking to heal their mind, body, and spirit from the wounds of the past and explore the powerful connection between spirituality and healing. Hosted by Shelli, we delve into the sacred process of overcoming trauma and nurturing the divine feminine energy within us all, regardless of gender. In each episode, I dive deep into the journey of growing through trauma, offering a blend of expert interviews, personal stories of resilience, and practical spiritual practices that empower you to rise above past wounds and begin creating the life of your dreams. Learn how to calm your nervous system, move beyond trauma responses, and embrace a life of peace and empowerment. Whether you're just beginning your healing journey or seeking inspiration for those ways to deepen your inner connection to self, Healing Her Spirit offers the knowledge, support, and encouragement you need to find your inner strength to reclaim your life and move out of stagnancy. Join us as we uncover the strength, wisdom, and beauty inherent in every soul, creating a supportive community of individuals committed to personal and collective evolution and transforming trauma into triumph. Let's take a couple of deep breaths, relax your body, and let's fall into this episode.
Namaste and welcome to the first ever episode of Healing Her Spirit with Shelli. It's so very nice to meet you. I'm so glad that I've been able to create this space to help you grow and share my experience so that you can take any knowledge from my journey and help make your journey a lot less bumpy. When I began my spiritual awakening, it occurred about 4 years ago. It was in 2020. Right after the pandemic hit, I ended up losing my mom. She had been in bad health for a while, but during that time, I started analyzing my life. I started realizing where I was in my life was not exactly who or what I wanted it to be. I didn't even feel comfortable in my own body. I didn't think that my life belonged to me anymore. It was a huge awakening for me. I was in the midst of quite a few addictions. I was pretty deep in alcoholism. I had used drugs. I had gotten addicted to drugs. Cocaine was my drug of choice. I also was in a cycle of relationships with abusive and toxic men. I was way overweight. I was 100 pounds overweight. I've lost 85 pounds. I'm bowing right now. I did it all through natural means by working with my body, getting my body out of fight or flight, working on a constant basis of trying to work the energy out of my body that was stuck in there from the traumas that I had experienced through childhood, as well as through the unhealthy, toxic relationships that I had experienced for all of my life. In childhood, my parents fought all the time. Literally all the time. Things got broken around the house, coffee pots got thrown, stove doors broken. We would pack up in the middle of the night and throw our stuff into a black garbage bag to head out to our grandparents' ranch and stay there for however many days we needed to until we felt that Dad would leave, or that when Dad was heading out of town, just depending on the time. He worked out of town a lot. He drilled for oil on ocean rigs for a lot of my younger years. He was not home a lot of the time. He'd be gone for a month and home for a month. So during the times that he was home, it was my parents fighting a lot. And my mother was not the type of empath to back down to a narcissist. She was actually kind of a narcissist herself. So it was two narcissists fighting with each other and four children that didn't feel safe because of it. So going into my later years, I got into a few relationships that started out, they didn't start out toxic. They started out with love bombing, actually. And I thought I found the man of my dreams because I had hope in my heart and still do that the person that I'm supposed to be with, my person, is somewhere out there. So one of my first relationships was with a man that was 9 years older than me. And he told me how to wear my hair, how to dress, how to act, how everything. He didn't like my 19-year-old ways. He thought it was too childish. So he did everything in his power to help me to grow up. And he did, definitely. We were together for just over 2 years, and that relationship ended not necessarily badly. I have a skill, a gift, I guess, of being able to detach from those toxic relationships fairly easy. Once I get it in my head that it's over for me. I will block them and never talk to them again. But if I see them, run into them, I won't harbor any negative feelings. I am not going to carry around that energy with me. That relationship ended, and I have done my best throughout the end of relationships to make sure that I didn't carry too much out of the relationship that was negative. I try to not hold on to any anger. Now, it does happen, absolutely. Hence my spiritual awakening, my healing journey. I have gone through my psyche and been able to look at my shadow and fall in love with her, fall in love with my shadow as much as I fall in love with the love in me, which is deep. I can love deeply. And if you're listening to this podcast, you probably can love deeply as well. I invite you to see that as a superpower, because with all of the heartbreak that we've had, all of the things that we have gone through, we still have that faith and hope that love exists. And that is beautiful. That is courageous. And hold on to that, okay? Because I can tell you right now, my journey's been 4 years and it's been bumpy as fuck. Oh, and by the way, for those of you that don't like cursing, you're not in the right place. I will curse. I have the mouth of a sailor. I learned it from my mother. God bless her. God rest her soul. And that is a quality, a characteristic that I've found through inner reflection that I'd like to hold on to. It's the way that I express my emotion. I express the severity of the emotions. I emphasize emotions with cursing. So if you don't like it, probably not the right place for you. And with my journey being bumpy, I have built a toolbox of different healing modalities, different things do to help the body get through the trauma responses. When you are working on your inner child, healing some inner child emotions, those emotions are stuck in the body. So when you're doing the mind work, you've got to do body work as well. So I dove into learning how to get the body out of fight or flight, which once the body is set in fight or flight, it takes a lot to get it out of it, because it is your ego's state of security. It's how your ego feels safe and protects you. It's your protection mechanism. So there's people that try to get rid of their shadow and try to get rid of their ego, and the ego death. And while yes, there is an ego death when you're going through a spiritual awakening, you also find those pieces within yourself that you want to flourish and you want to take with you. But as the things as you're going through your journey, as the things fall away, and I'm talking those people, places, and things that have been in your life for a long, long time. I thought the relationship that I was in while I was on my spiritual awakening journey, I thought he was it. I thought he was my person. I even got a tattoo. We got matching tattoos. I would have never done that if I thought that he wasn't for some reason my person. So once I realized in what places he was holding me back, and no shade to him, every place in everyone's journey is very, very important. However, I wasn't willing to change my points of view to make him happy. And that's something you'll learn through the journey, is finding your authentic self and falling in love with her and not letting anyone else tell her that you're not okay. That's not okay. If someone loves you truly, deeply, they will help your shadow side, your ego side, your whoever you want to be. They will help you flourish. They will help hold you up. So I digress. The things that fall away, we think they're going to be permanent fixtures. We think that the people, places, and things are going to be around for a long time. And that's not necessarily the case. You don't necessarily have to lose everything. But what happens is, when you're asking for the universe to release those things that no longer serve you, it's going to do just that. It's going to put you in positions to make decisions differently, to make different decisions based in the new belief in yourself, the new beliefs that you want to hold on to as you go forward. And it's not something that you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to, change all of this. It doesn't necessarily happen like that. It can. These are called tower moments, honestly, in the spiritual community. So when those things fall away, I give you a ton of tools to be able to use to hold yourself up in love and compassion and non judgment, and to throw yourself into self care, because some of the major things that come up, major feelings that come up during this process, you're going to look at procrastination. You're going to find that you have low motivation. You're also going to fall into depression. This is called the dark night of the soul. Our body needs time to acclimate to the changes that are going on in our life. So when you're working on your emotional, you have to work on your body as well. So this course that I've created is to help you hold your body up while you have a very low support system, because those people, places, and things that fall away were your support system before, or you thought they were, anyways. Okay, so allowing those things to fall away and getting the divine feminine aspect of yourself into the receiving mode. If you know anything about divine feminine and divine masculine is the action, it's the go getter, it's the protector. The female is the receiver, the mother, the nurturer. We need to fill our cup up first before we give to others. It's not a fallacy. This is a real thing. We have to make ourselves 100% before we can give to others. What happens if we don't is that we will end up getting burnt out. Will end up getting burnt out. You end up getting depressed. You end up getting low motivation. You end up getting procrastination, all of these things. And these things all have their place in the spiritual journey. It just depends on how you react as to how bumpy your journey is going to be as you're healing. This is also why I've created this podcast. I intend to not only give you real life experiences so you know you're not alone, I also will give you healing modalities to help get your body back into a healthy state. Are you going to get healed overnight? Absolutely not. I mean, miracles do happen. So don't expect that it's not going to happen, but don't expect
that it is going to happen, because the least amount of expectations that we hold going along this journey will benefit us, because sometimes, most of the time it seems, the universe has a different idea for us based on things that we've expressed along the way that we prefer versus what we don't.
But I'm going to provide to you a ton of tools. We're going to have interviews going forward of different healers that can explain their healing modalities. So with my journey with learning these different healing modalities, I have learned breath work.
I've also learned Reiki. I am a Reiki master. For those of you that don't know what Reiki is, I liken it to a massage. However, it's a massage of your energy. I don't necessarily need to touch your body to be able to perform Reiki on you. Distance Reiki is one of my specialities. That's the one I prefer to do on people. I've also learned tapping, Ayurveda. I've done meridian work and somatic exercise work.
Yoga is a beautiful, beautiful way to not only exercise, but also it's considered a meditation.
I also work with a ton of different grounding techniques.
Walking, going outside, putting your feet on Gaia, hugging a tree. These things are necessary for our journey because we are all in this together. The collective energy is as such. Gaia is a divine being herself, right? So she is ascending. She is ascending as we are ascending. We're all doing this together. So as we're getting rid of our trauma, we are raising our vibrational state and calling in our manifestations. So as we're getting rid of this trauma, we're discovering who we are and who we want to be for this next version because we no longer have to be who they told us we had to be so we didn't get hit or so that we didn't get manipulated or gaslighted or whatever, all of the above. And in creating our new personas, we start creating our new life. We start taking steps into the direction that we would like to go, not the direction that everyone else likes us to go. But with that, you're also looking at the people in your life giving you resistance. They're not going to like that you are standing up for yourself. They're not going to like that you're setting boundaries. They're not going to like that you're saying no. They're not going to like that you have gone into hermit mode so you can take care and spoil yourself, your person, your body, your mind. They're not going to like that. They're not going to like that you're putting yourself first because you've never done that before. You've always put people before you. And I invite you to allow yourself to spoil yourself and get your body into the receiving mode. It is a must have. Balancing the divine feminine and divine masculine are a requirement for bringing your vibration up. Okay. Now, within the journey as well, you're also going to have to bring yourself back into your body and be more in the present moment, getting yourself out of those negative mind loops. We don't want those negative thoughts in there. They're not ours. Believe it or not, how we speak to ourselves is not necessarily how we feel about ourselves. Our higher self is our true essence. Okay. Our higher self absolutely does not believe that we are a whore, that we are lazy, that we are a terrible mom, that we are whatever it is that they told you you were. Our higher self does not believe that about ourselves. Hence the depression and the feelings of unworthiness and the feelings of undeservingness. Those are things that our higher self does not believe about ourselves. Those are things that people planted in our head. The collective energy of the vibrational state you were in during the time that you were going through the trauma, that is what's still in your head, still roaming around in your brain, still rolling around in your brain. Those negative mind loops. And they're hard to get rid of. So don't get me wrong. Don't think that it's just overnight going to change. It unfortunately doesn't happen like that. Those things, those limiting beliefs, those thought patterns have been part of your life for a long, long time. I don't want to say stuck in your body because I don't want you to think that it's stuck. It's not. It can come out. We have to allow it to release the energy in the body as well as the energy in the mind. So, and then this causes the integration process. So, this can cause the dark night of the soul, the depression. It can get super, 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 uber, uber bad. My ex-boyfriend, the one that I thought that was going to be my life partner forever, he used to say I needed medical help. I needed to be on medicine, on some kind of pharmaceutical. I've never been one to go that direction. I'm not one that goes to a Western practitioner. I've gone to a holistic medical practitioner since I was 18 years old, and I'm in my late 40s now. So I've never handled my body like that. I've never really, and yes, I have gone to doctors. I'm not saying that I haven't. I do think that they have their place in the medical arena, but I don't think they should be the only thing. So I've done holistic my entire life, and I wanted to take care of my depression, handle my depression, get out of my addictions, get out of my head, all by myself. There is absolutely no chemical, no outside influence that can make me better, that can make me healthy. I am the only one that can do that for myself, right?
Having a professional help walk me through that, now that's something that I would have been open to. However, changing the way that I do things and have done things for many years was not something that I was willing to compromise on. And he would try and make me feel guilty and say that I wasn't doing the things that he wanted me to do to make him feel better.
And all those people that are telling me how to live my life as the journey progresses, they are doing it out of fear. They don't understand. They don't understand where I'm going. They don't understand my process. And I can't blame them for where they're at in their life. Again, every place has their place in the divine beautifulness that surrounds us. God, the universe, is an all encompassing thing. Each perspective of each unique person is required for God's understanding of the whole, for being a part of the I am. I know I'm not explaining this right, but I hope you understand where that belief, that concept comes from, of being the all, of being part of the all. You are an individual perspective, unique perspective that is needed. So keep that in mind when all of these people are trying to tell you to think like them, because you're not going to. You're not supposed to. God, the universe, would like you to have your own perspective and be authentically yourself, unapologetically, authentically yourself. So I invite you, when people are trying to make you feel a certain way, to make you think a certain way about yourself or about the life that you're living or about the world as a whole, your opinions. When people are telling you that you are wrong, when people are telling you you think weird or that you should think like them, I invite you to please not listen to them. You are unique. Your perspective is required, okay? So when those things are happening, fall into yourself, fall into meditation, fall into the self-care, go into hermit mode if you need. Stay away from those outside influences because they will hinder your journey. You'll feel at times like you're going backwards. I guarantee you're not, because what you're doing is, when things come up and people are saying, think this way, do this way, this is the correct direction to go, and you choose differently, you are choosing yourself. You are choosing to move your life forward. You're choosing to move out of stagnancy and move out of your comfort zone, because that's not a way that you would generally have gone before when you were in your unhealthy state, which again is another part of the perspective that is required. Unfortunately, those of us that are awakening at this time on earth, we went through a pretty tough life. We've had a pretty tough journey. My journey, for instance, I was telling you about the childhood trauma as well as the romantic toxic relationships. I also have struggled with finances. When I was younger, my father was working overseas, gone all the time, but we had a ton of money. Then when my parents divorced, we lost everything, and we moved into a home that was a 2-bedroom house with 6 kids and 3 adults. My mom married another man, my stepfather, that had 3 children, 2 of which lived with us, 4 of us children, then my mom and my stepdad, and then my stepdad had a roommate that lived there for, I want to say, maybe 6 months to a year after we moved in. I don't think it was very long, but during that time, we lost everything. We had no money whatsoever. We were living on, I don't want to say food stamps, but I do know that my mom had gone and gotten free food from the food banks. My parents were struggling to be able to provide us with the things that we needed to continue in school. Like I know I needed a scientific calculator and we had to get funding for that, when I was in high school. But he ended up being unhealthy as well. He was an alcoholic. No shade to him, because I feel that the things that we went through in that home growing up, and even to this day, actually, all have made me the person that I am today. I'm not going to blame anybody for anything, because the way I believe is that before we came down to the earth plane, we decided who it is we wanted in our life and what it is we wanted them to teach us. They volunteered to play this part for us to help our souls grow. That, I believe, is a deep, deep love, because that divine being chose to do a horrific act for your soul's growth, for my soul's growth. And while, yes, they're here on the earth plane and don't even necessarily remember that they made that contract with you, they're fulfilling it, and their entity, without all of the outside influences, without all of the limiting beliefs, without all of the paradigms that they had experienced growing up, they wouldn't have been in the unhealthy state that they were in to have caused the event or the thing that helped you to have low confidence, feel undeserving, feel unworthy, that allowed you to grow out of the feelings of unworthiness and undeservingness and fall in love with yourself. And I just think that that is the deepest kind of love that anybody could give to somebody else. So I thank those people that have brought hardships into my life.
One of the deepest relationships that I've had is with my ex-boyfriend.
He was the only person that ever hit me. But on the flip side, I am also the only person he has ever hit. And I know when that situation was going on, I could see in his eyes, I could feel his love for me. He didn't know how to handle it. He didn't handle it properly. Who does when they're in an unhealthy state? And we're no longer together. We haven't been together for quite some time. But I have grown so much from that man, through that man. I went through codependency with him, but he is the first person that constantly tells me, don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your dreams. And we have very deep conversations. We were just talking yesterday about how the universe, the vibration that you're in the universe, calls in what it is that you're asking for. So if you're telling the universe that life is hard, life is difficult, money is hard to come by, that's exactly what you're getting. We had that deep conversation yesterday, and it's a beautiful thing that we can be in a place that we had gone through all of that trauma, and it's built a very firm foundation for a friendship. Now, that also caused me to make other adjustments to our relationship, as far as allowing him to take advantage of me in some ways. However, I believed that I was choosing my battles because I was in a place where I didn't feel like I could handle life, I could handle things. So I just kind of picked and chose here and there what it is I felt like I could tackle, what it is I felt like I could handle, so that I can move myself forward, because I never wanted to be stuck in the belief that I wasn't good enough. And that's kind of how my journey started. Is I was activated by a friend of mine. Her activation came through words. I was having a conversation with her one day. She was a coworker. I was having a conversation with her one day about the things that my ex and I were going through, something that was happening in our life. I can't even remember at this point what it was we were talking about or what I was complaining about. But she stopped me in the middle of my complaining mode and asked me why I had such low self-confidence. I didn't know. I couldn't explain why I had such low self-confidence or why I ever put myself in the positions that I ever did, because I really never thought that I was deserving of that type of treatment from anybody. But I was in a place in my life at that time where I thought that everyone else was doing me harm. I thought my life was terrible because of everybody else around me, and I had to change everybody else. Once everybody else changed, I would be fine. How dare they not treat me like I deserve better? How, it's their fault, the world's fault. It's the world's fault. Everybody did me wrong. But when she said, "Why do you have such low self confidence?" I thought, holy crap, I actually have work to do. This is my part. This is something I can do. This is cleaning up my side of the street. I don't have to worry about them. I can't change them. I can change me, though. I can get that energy surrounding whatever it was that they did or what they were doing to me. I could get that energy off of me. That energy wasn't mine, it didn't belong to me, and I no longer wanted it. And that's when I started, diving in and doing work on healing my self confidence and falling in love with myself. It was a beautiful realization. And I thank her to this day for doing that for me. And I did a little something for her too. I did plant a seed in her head that actually took her to a beautiful place. And I'm so very glad that I had the opportunity to do that for her. And I'm super glad to see that she's in a really good place right now. And you're going to hear me talk about, okay, I'm going to go off a little bit off schedule, off course here just a minute, but you're going to learn something about me that I don't feel that this universe is asking for us to work as hard as we are. I feel this universe is asking us to live in our highest passions and decide what we want to create our lives to be. But this woman is now retired, and I am so glad to see that the words that I spoke to her helped her to get into a place where now she's retired and laying in a hammock somewhere with her husband. It's beautiful for me. I love that. I want to see that for all of us. So that is my point of this podcast. That is my point of my course. That is my mission. I am here to make your journey a lot less bumpy. So strap in, get ready for the ride of your life, and guess what? You're the driver. You're the conductor. Take it by the reins and let's fucking go. Let's grow. I will see you in my next episode. I hope you enjoyed this first episode and some of my personal stories. I'm not trying to tell you any of this to be in victim mentality, because I am absolutely not. I am the maker of my life. I put myself here today and I'm moving myself forward tomorrow. So I'm going to close this episode out with a little love. I hope you receive it. You are amazing. The people that told you you're not lied to you, because your light shone so bright it made them feel uncomfortable. So they tried to pull you down to their level. But remember this, you didn't fucking let them, because you're a rock star. You're a badass. You've got this thing called life in the bag. Let's do this. I will see you next week. I love you. Let's grow.